Hafide Tiro Fai Show. Welcome to your chamber. I would now like to call this 6th day, 4th regular session to order. Please let us all rise for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. We'll now proceed to the first item of the agenda, which is the roll call, and I recognize the clerk.
Representative Vada,
Present.
Representative Fatal,
Present.
Representative Selena Babata,
Presente.
Representative Sheila Babata, Representative Joel Komatsu, Representative Vicente Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Damapan,
Still.
Representative Flores,
Present.
Representative Guerrero,
Still.
Representative Lizama,
Present.
Representative Magofnia,
Present.
Representative Manglona,
Present.
Representative Probst,
Present.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Present.
Representative Jean Paul Sablan,
Still.
Representative St. Nicholas,
Present.
Representative Staffler,
Here.
Representative Villagomit, Mr. Speaker,
Present.
Representative Yangthamay,
Nangi.
Representative Yumo. Mr. Speaker, 18 members are present and 2 members are absent.
Thank you, clerk. With 18 present, that constitutes a quorum for us to move forward for today's session. Just to note, Representative Joel Camacho has messaged me, and he will be excused for today's session. He will try to make it, and Representative Sheila Babauta is on her way. All right, thank you. At this moment, I'd like to call for a recess for a resolution presentation.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. To Dina and family, Mr. Tenorio, Mrs. Tenorio, and siblings. Today, she's been waiting for this. But before I introduce the resolution to her and present it to her, I met this lady, I think in the 20th legislature. She came knocking on my door. She had this vision of one day we should have this, what they call hyperbaric chamber. I said, it's proven that it's destiny because I had a bill drafted up. It's Public Law 20-36. That is to charge $10 per tank for such purpose of this hyperbaric chamber at CHCC. This is to collect $10 for every dive that our tourists come in to dive in our unique underworld. So this lady was saying she was telling me her resume of what she does. And I just looked at her and I said, you know what? You're the first local female that has taken this task to be who you are under a world that I myself don't want to see what's under that big, deep water that you do. She's the first female from the Sinamay that is a master diver. Her experience and specialty is beyond recognition. If all of you remember one incident at Grotto, I'm sorry, Banzai Cliff, that SUV that fell off, she was the one that brought it up with her own equipment. It's been long that wanted to present this to her because her skill and mindset is highly demand, and I think that we should honor her with this House resolution because I know that she mentioned that she's leaving again for another special project, deep underwater. She loved the underwater. That's why I wear this shirt because she sees this fish underwater. So with that, I'd like to present this House Resolution number 22-23, a House Resolution to commend Dina A. Tenorio in honor and recognition of the first female indigenous person from the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Island as a certified commercial diver and for her dedication and success as an innovative young entrepreneur in the Sinamay. Dina, you earned this from the 22nd House of Legislature. This was passed through a committee as a whole, and we want to honor you for your dedication and the first female to take this daunting task to be a master diver. And with that, we'd like to present this House resolution to you and your family. A short speech.
Half a day. Good morning, everyone. I'm so humbled to be standing before you today. 24 years ago, I would have never imagined myself receiving such an honorable recognition. When I began the journey with NMC, during this time, I took part in a nonprofit organization called the Tenopac Action Group. There, I recorded data on PCBs scattered all over my beloved village, Tenopac Village. This chemical was left behind by the military, and it surrounded my sanctuary. It was the Tenopac Action Group organization that would represent the stepping stone that led me to my amazing future opportunities. After this experience, I worked for DEQ. It was at DEQ that I was introduced to the world of diving. The in-field experience and knowledge that I gained created a desire to learn more about underwater opportunities. Anyone who knew me knew where to find me, in or around the water. Not too long after I worked for DEQ, a nonprofit organization based out of Hawaii blessed me with an opportunity to work for the Western Pacific Regional Fisheries Management Council located in Guam. I packed my bags and started another journey as an environmental technician that required diving and collaboration with the Guam Department Fish and Wildlife. This furthered my yearning to learn more about underwater opportunity. There had to be more than just gathering data. So I decided to broaden my horizon and equip myself with a higher education. It was just a dream at the time, but it was definitely a dream that I wanted to come into fruition. I did some research and discovered the National Polytechnic College of Oceaneering and Engineering. Once again, I packed my bags, moved to San Diego, and continued my learning journey. There, I spent a year studying commercial diving with a specialty in non-destructive testing. I did it. I was a certified commercial diver. The commercial diving industry is considered to be a male-dominated industry. As of 2017, there are approximately 3,300 commercial divers in the world. 0.3% of that are females. I served my tendership in Louisiana, working for offshore diving companies doing pipeline construction for the oil and gas industry. The road to being an offshore commercial diver in the industry, yet alone a female, was one of the toughest and most challenging experience I had to ever endure. But at the same time, it was one of the best experiences of my life. 2 years later, I was finally given the official title as a commercial diver and not just a tender diver. From there, fast forward to today, I am standing before you as a humble business owner, a hardworking certified commercial diver, and I stand before you as the only female underwater welder in the Sinai. A part of me always knew that I had to come back home. I wish to encourage the future generation to dream big, and turn those dreams into a reality. I want to challenge those who have left our motherland in attempt to venture out and gain experience to come back and share what they've learned and better our home, broaden out the opportunity table for our future generation, and most importantly, give back to our community. In closing, I would like to extend my gratitude to Congressman Lee Pon, the House of Representatives, and the committee who felt the need to bestow upon me such an honorable recognition. I am forever grateful. Thank you to my parents, my siblings, my friends, my dive team for believing in me and giving me the strength that I need to keep pushing through. To my brother and business partner, Melvin. Thank you for seeing my vision, and thank you for helping me turn a simple dream into an actual thriving business. Undang kuluna si Zeus mo, si Tiro, and thank you.
You want to say something, Mr. Tenorio?
Well, first and foremost, to this Congress, thank you so much. It meant a lot to us. I had never thought or dreamed that Dina would become a commercial diver. From just hearing and experiencing what she's going through, what she does even scares me to death. For her to be diving out in the open water from Kwajalein to Saipan to work on the underwater cable is just something that I would never even, as a man, dream on doing. And so with that, thank you, Congressman Lipan. All of you, Congresswoman, Congressman, thank you so much. And Dean, continue, help the cinema. Thank you so much.
One more. Oh, one more.
Gonna turn on my live video. Thank you for letting me use your computer.
I'm on a roll. Evan? Waiting for one. Waiting on one. Waiting on one. Marlo? Waiting on one. We're gonna photo op first. Arnold, you get the picture?
Yes, please.
Media and the media.
John and Dale, hi.
1, 2, 3.
One more.
One more. 1, 2. There you go. 1, 2, 3. One more. One more. Thank you, Arnold. Mrs. McPeters and family of it took me almost an hour to read his resume. His profile is beyond my expectation, but I hope that Mart is okay. I know that he had to relocate to Texas, but the family are still here, so we can present this resolution in his honor. Uh, Mr. Martin Adam Manglona is a decorated Vietnam veteran and a retired Command Sergeant Major, U.S. Army. His profile is too much to illustrate, but let me just touch off on a few of his accomplishments. Mr. Manglona accomplishment started back in '84 towards 2016. What's the eye-catching of this is he was the one that coordinated and instrumental in the creation and build-up of the American Memorial Park and the the honor for the veterans that have passed away. He was the secretary of DPW back then when this project consummated to build the American Memorial Park. He was instrumental and one of the mover of the local chapter for the Boy Scout. And he moved on, and he was the creator of the Junior ROTC program here in the Sinamay. He received numerous awards that I'm so nervous. Can't even open the page. Here we go. The last one was this Distinguished Service Cross. He had the Silver Star, Bronze Star, you name it. Mr. Manglona has received all this recognition and award. But today is the day to honor him. and House Resolution 22-24, a House Resolution to honor and commend retired Command Sergeant Major Martin Adda Manglona for his lengthy and highly respectable service in the United States Army and for his numerous contribution to the Marianas Island. I know that the family have waited long enough for this to happen, and I would never forget because we were having coffee at Herman's when my brother Herman said, "Can you do a resolution to Mr. Martin Manglona?" I said, "I thought it's done already." But I'm truly honored, and the 22nd legislature, when I introduced this as a committee as a whole, are here present to present this to you, Mrs. McPeters, on behalf of Martin. So with that, this is for Martin and the family. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you who recognize my brother. I do not have a prepared speech as the one who received earlier, and congratulations. You make me feel so proud that you have accomplished that too, because that's what our islands need. And I will not have the speech. If my brother were here, probably you will be here for an hour because he likes to talk. And he will tell you everything that you will want to hear. But since he's not here, I just want to thank you for allowing him to provide what's needed in the CNMI. He had always wanted to help the CNMI because he spent years and years and years serving the US government, the military. He went through 2 wars and was injured badly, but he continued so that he could assist our people. When he retired, he wants to come back to Saipan so that he could give what he had owed our people. And everything that he had in mind that he can give, he did it. And I'm so proud and so thankful for you to recognize that. We also, as individual, which I retired to, whatever we can, we should provide our people. We have the obligation because we're still new citizens, a new country, in our place. And all of us that have been gifted with some things, we should, and we have the obligation to provide. And I'm so proud that he did it. I tried my best also to do the same thing. And thank you also for doing the same thing so that our island will reach its goal so that we will all live better and better each year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McPeters. Anyone else? Thank you for that. I thought that you said Martin will be here for an hour. We're almost an hour here who used to doing the same thing. With that, thank you to the family.
Colleagues will rise back to session. And before the recess, we were under roll call. We'll now move down to item number 2, public comments. And the floor is open for public comments. Please state your name and the entity you represent, and you'll be given a few minutes to give your public comments. Floor is open. Okay, looks like there will be no public comments. Before we move down to item number 3, I'd like to recognize the floor leader for the suspension of rules. Floor leader.
Thank
To
you,
amend
Mrs.
the agenda.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now offer a motion to suspend Rule 3, Section 6, so that the House can include unnumbered bills, resolutions, and communications. So moved.
A motion has been made to suspend rules to include, to amend the agenda to include unnumbered bills and resolutions and communications not filed with the clerk's office within 72 hours, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Ready? With that, I recognize the clerk to please call the roll. My apologies, colleagues. Before we move forward with the roll call, I'd just like to recognize that Representative Sheila Babauta is present in today's session. Clerk, please.
Representative Adat? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta? Representative Sheila Babauta? Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Damapan? Representative Flores?
Yes.
Representative Guerrero?
Good.
Representative Lizama?
Yes.
Representative Magovnia? Representative Manglona?
Yes.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan?
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan?
Hungan.
Representative Sina Claus?
Yes.
Representative Staffler?
Ungan.
Representative Yangtamine?
Aware.
Representative Yumo?
Yes.
Representative Damapan? Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 18 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With 18 members voting yes, the motion is hereby adopted. Thank you, members. We now move down to item number 3, adoption of journals, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 3, adoption of journals, we have 4 items. Second day, 4th regular session journal dated September 27, 2022. Third day, 4th regular session journal, September 30, 2022. Fourth day, 4th regular session journal, October 18, 2022. And 5th day, 4th regular session journal dated October 24th, 2022.
Thank you, clerk. And with that, I'd like to recognize the floor leader for the motion to adopt journals. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now offer a motion to adopt second, third, fourth, fifth day regular session journal dated September 27, September 30, October 18, and October 24. So move.
A motion has been made by the floor leader to adopt the journals, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All right, with that, all in favor to adopt the journals, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The journals are hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 4, introduction of bills, and I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now offer an introduction House Bill number 22-119 to establish a process for the delivery of the State of the Commonwealth address to the legislature by the governor. So move. I mean, excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, floor leader. There's a lot of things to read on today's agenda, so if there's no objection, I'd like to recognize the floor leader again to place his bill on today's calendar for action. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And without objection from the members, I would like to request or move that the House Bill number 22-119 be placed on today's calendar. So,
Thank you, floor leader. And with that, House Bill number 22-119 is hereby placed on today's bill calendar for action. Any more House bills? I see there's none. There's none under House local bills, none under House legislative initiatives. We now move down to item number 5, introduction of resolutions, and I recognize Representative Karina Magofnia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to introduce House Resolution 22-25 to that's okay. Sorry. House Resolution 22-25 to honorably commend and pay just tribute to the life of the late Honorable Antonio Regis Agutu for his dedication and contributions to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, introduced by myself and several others. And if there are no objections, I would like to introduce it as committee as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Magofnia. We have nothing under House joint resolutions. Under House commemorative resolution, I'd like to recognize Representative Lee Pon, since he's on a roll today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know that at the state funeral, we presented this commemorative resolution to the late Jackson Samuel Kaipa Davis. Commemorative Resolution 22-12, a House commemorative resolution to extend our sincere condolences and sympathy to the family of the late Jackson Samuel Kaipa Davis and to honor his memory as a committed Sinamay law enforcement officer, family man, and devoted member of the community, which was introduced as a committee as a whole, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Representative Lee Pon. And commemorative resolution number 22-12 will be on today's resolution calendar for action. Thank you. We have none under House concurrent resolutions. We now move down to item number 6, messages from the governor, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On item 6, messages from the governor, we have Governor's Communication 22-172 through 22-183. 22-183 has been added by the House.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under messages from the governor? Recognize Representative Sheila Babalta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is in regards to Governor's Communication 22-174, informing the House that pursuant to the legislature's override, I'm going to say that again, pursuant to the legislature's override, House Bill 22-80 entitled An Act to Have the CNMI join the Psychology Interjurisdictional Compact, the SIPAC, to improve and expand access to health care in the CNMI and for other purposes became law. So Public Law 22-23 became law, and I think it's worth acknowledging that the legislature overrode something that was vetoed, and it now expands access to mental health for our community. And I'm just really proud to have been a part of this whole process. I learned so much from reading the bill. Thank you, Rep. Tina and Rep. Probes and the Health Committee, chaired by Rep. Tina, for learning this process, hearing public comments, meeting with the stakeholders and the leaders in this field of mental health, having it go through committee. We voted on it as a House here in the 22nd legislature. It passed the Senate and then it got vetoed. It came back and we overrode that. And then the Senate overrode that. Like, that whole process that just happened is not normal. And we did that. Like, I think that's worth acknowledging, that the process can be long and hard, but if we are organized and if we prepare and communicate with stakeholders and our community to come and support it, like we can make it happen. And that's what happened. So I just wanted to like share that because I'm really happy that it's law. I had to ask my therapist, like, now that it's law, is mental health like access ready now for everyone? Like, if I know a police officer who needs to see a therapist, can I have him like talk to his doctor? Like, what do we do now? Because people need therapy. People need therapy, period. And it's really great to have someone to organize your thoughts with and speak to about your experiences and help you process emotions. And there's no stigma. There is a stigma, but we're working on that around mental health and mental illness. And so I just really want to thank this legislature, like entirely, the House and the Senate, for working together and making this happen. And so I think this is such a great example and experience of working in the legislature. And that's all I wanted to share. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Thank you, Representative Sheila. Floor is still open. Recognize Representative Tina Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Babalta, for that acknowledgement. I think it is certainly worthy of recognizing and appreciating our colleagues in both the House and the Senate who saw the critical need for more access, expanded access to mental health care services in our community, and unanimously passed this SIPAC legislation in the House and the Senate, and then unanimously overrode the governor's veto. You're right, Representative Babalta, that is totally unusual. But I think it speaks to the importance of this legislation and also to the efforts of the mental health providers in our community who rallied to help our members understand this bill and also to understand what it would mean for our community, which is in a tremendous need of just better access to mental health services here. In terms of what happens next, so I do think it's worth recognizing that the CNMI is the first territory to join this compact. There are over 30 states and the District of Columbia that are part of the compact, but the CNMI is the first territory to now join. And I have had some communication with the mental health providers that were advocating for this bill. And I think the next step is really a lot of outreach and education and communicating with the SIPAC Commission, to raise awareness about how providers can connect with people who are in need of services here, and also how our local providers could become part of this compact, and what those next steps would entail. So stay tuned. I'm sure that we will be hearing more from our community of mental health providers, but it is an exciting time and definitely something to celebrate.
Thank you, Representative Tina. Recognize Representative Leila Staffler.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, ladies, colleagues, for speaking on Governor's Communication 22-74. I'm going to talk about 22-75 because it does relate, relating to more access to mental health. This is another public law that was recently passed that was worked on in my committee, the Education Committee, and so I want to thank all of the Education Committee members for all of your input. And also to thank the Blue Ribbon Consortium. They were part of the input that was received to ensure that this scholarship considered all of the really important elements to becoming an actual certified behavioral health specialist, because the timelines of that are really important in ensuring that the scholarship it will actually produce the human resources that we want to bring home or keep home, because we also included part of this bill to include online resources and access. And so I just want to celebrate both those new public laws that are both established to make sure that our people have the mental health access supports that we all know are needed. And I'm very happy to share that. So thank you to all contributing partners, from the education systems who gave their feedback, to CHC, mental health departments, and of course the Blue Ribbon Consortium. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Staffler. Any more discussions under governor's communication or messages from the governor? Ready? All right. Before we move forward to Senate communication, I like to move back to resolutions um, for an introduction of a resolution. And I'd like to recognize our colleague from Tinian, Representative Patrick San Nicolas.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my apologies for not introducing this earlier. I'd like to introduce the House Resolution commending Master Sergeant Nicole Adriano Cabrera upon the occasion of her designation as recipient of a Bronze Star Medal. And if there's no objection, Mr. Speaker, to our colleagues, I want to introduce this to us as a whole. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Representative San Nicolas. All right, we'll now move down to Senate communications, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 7, we have Senate Communications 22-118 to 22-126. 22-126 has been added by the House.
Thank you, clerk. I'd now like to recognize the floor leader for the proper motion to accept Senate communications.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now offer a motion to accept Senate Communication 22-118 through 22-119 to become property of the House. So moved. My apologies, Mr. Speaker, and that's to include Senate Communication 22-126. So moved.
Second, all right. Thank you, floor leader. Motion has been made to accept Senate communications 22-118 to 22-126, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay. All in favor to accept Senate communications, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Senate communications are hereby accepted. I'd like to call for a short recess, colleagues. Okay, any discussions under Senate communications? Okay. No, we're back. Okay, we're ready? Okay. Oh, recognize Representative Leila.
Thank you, colleague. Would this be a proper time to ask to put the Senate Communication 22-123 on calendar?
Yeah, we will. I'll place that on calendar. I'll just go ahead and
Excellent.
explain the
Thank you.
actions for the Senate communications. So, Senate Communications 22-19 will be referred to the Committee on JGO. Senate Communications 22-122 will be referred to the Committee on Education. And Senate Communications 22-123 will be placed on today's bill calendar for action. Senate Communications 22-124 will also be on today's resolution calendar. And Senate Communication 22-125 will also be on today's bill calendar. Are we clear, colleagues? All right. Yeah. All right, colleagues, with that, we'll now move down to item number 8, House Communications, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 8, House Communications, we have just one item, House Communication 22-112.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under House Communications? Ready? All right, thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 9, Communications from the Judicial Branch. We have none. We now move down to item number 10, Communications from Departments and Agencies, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Under item 10, the communications from departments and agencies, we have Department and Agency Communication 2264 through 2268.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under Communications from Departments and Agencies? Recognize Representative Sheila Babauta. Okay, thank you. All right, and with that, we'll move down to item number 11, Miscellaneous Communications. I recognize the clerk.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Under item 11, Miscellaneous Communications, we have Miscellaneous Communication 22137 through 22140. 22140 has been added by the House.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussion under Miscellaneous Communications? I recognize Representative Sheila Babauta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Miscellaneous Communications 22-138 is the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, submitting FY 2022 Citizen-Centric Report. And this really brought up thoughts around the audit that we funded, that OPM, this agency, was responsible for carrying out. And I just want to state for the record that it would be a really great idea for them to come in and present the results of that audit. I have spoken to the director, and it is something that they're very interested in doing because they're really excited about their findings. You know, we funded a project, they completed it, and now it's like turning in your homework to the teacher, right? So they are ready to present their findings and will await an invitation or communication from this legislature, from your office, Mr. Speaker. And I know we discussed this yesterday, and you were very supportive of the idea. And so I think this is going to be a really great example and a model to show how a legislature funds, like we have the discussion, we move funding, we fund something, and then an agency carries out the responsibility and gathers findings, and now we have this data that's going to be provided to the people who funded it. And so we can use this data to make better decisions, right? So I'm really excited to hear from them. They are excited to present, and I hope that we can schedule this in the month of December. I know it's holidays, everyone, and it's some of our last months in office. And so I just hope that we can schedule that presentation from OPM. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Sheila. Floor is still open for discussion under Miscellaneous Communications. Ready? All right. Thank you. Colleagues, before we move down to item number 12, I just want to note for the 2 resolutions that were introduced by Representative Patrick San Nicolas and House Resolution 2225, introduced by Representative Karina Magofnia, will be placed on calendar for action in the next session. Yes, recognize Representative Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, just on miscellaneous communication, I wanted to echo my support for scheduling a meeting with OPM to present on the desk audits for corrections and public safety. And I wanted to also suggest, I think this is very timely to bring them in and schedule a briefing. And I would suggest that we invite the members of the Governor-elect's Transition Committee, who will be also reviewing corrections and public safety. And I think this would be very helpful to them as well.
Thank you, Representative Tina. I recognize again Representative Sheila.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Rep. Tina, for sharing that, because as I was speaking with the director of OPM, we were talking about inviting the congresswomen and congressmen elect for the next term. Since they begin in January, they can come and sit in the gallery and, just be invited, right? Just to know, like, this is happening. Your term is going to start in January. This is helpful information for you moving into your new term. And so I think inviting the congressmen and women elect would be helpful too. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Sheila. Floor is still open under miscellaneous communications. Ready? Ready. All right. We now move down to item number 12, reports of standing committees, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 12, reports of standing committees, we have one item, Standing Committee Report 22-57, reporting on House Bill 2279 from your House Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations, recommending that the House pass the bill in the form of House Bill 2279 HS1.
Thank you, clerk. I now recognize the floor leader for proper motion to adopt a standing committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, I move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 22-57, reporting on House Bill number 22-79, entitled to allow for right-hand drive vehicles that are 25 years or older to be imported and registered in the CNMI and for other purposes. Your House Committee on Judicial and Governmental Operations recommend that the House pass the bill in the form of House Bill number 22-79 HS1. So move.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to adopt standing committee report number 22-57, and it has been seconded. Discussion. Ready? All right. All in favor to adopt standing committee report number 22-57, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Standing committee report number 22-57 is hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 13, reports of special and conference committees. We have none. We move down to item number 14, unfinished business. We have none. We now move down to the resolution calendar, and I recognize the floor leader for the adoption motions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will now offer a motion to adopt House Commemorative Resolution number 22-12, a House Commemorative Resolution to extend our sincere condolences and sympathies to the family of late Jackson Samao Kaipat Davis, and to honor his memory as a committed CNMI law enforcement officer, family man, and devoted member of our community. So move.
Thank you. Motion has been made to adopt commemorative resolution number 22-12, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Ready? All right. All in favor to adopt commemorative resolution number 22-12, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Commemorative resolution number 22-12 is hereby adopted. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution number 22-14, a Senate Joint Resolution to recognize and honor Edward De Leon Guerrero Pangilinan for his monumental service and role in shaping the history and future for the people of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to adopt Senate Joint Resolution number 22-14, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready. With that, I recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Hada? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta?
Ngan.
Representative Sheila Babauta?
Ngan.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Mapan? Representative Flores?
Yes.
Representative Guerrero?
Good.
Representative Lizama?
Yes.
Representative Magofnia? Representative Manglona?
Yes.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan?
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Hunggan.
Representative Nicholas,
Enggan.
Representative Staffler,
Unggan.
Representative Yang Tamay,
Aware.
Representative Yumo.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members voting yes, Senate Joint Resolution number 22-14 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution number 22-15, a Senate Joint Resolution to acknowledge and honor Mr. Howard Penny Willens for his devoted efforts towards the establishment of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and the betterment of its citizens and future. So move.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made to adopt Senate Joint Resolution number 22-15, and it has been seconded. Discussion. Ready? Okay, and with that, I recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Fata, Representative Fatal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta,
Hunggan.
Representative Sheila Babauta,
Hunggan.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Damapan, Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Zama,
Yes.
Representative Magovnia, Representative Manglona,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Hunggan.
Representative Nicholas,
Enggan.
Representative Staffler,
Unggan.
Representative Yang Tamay,
Aware.
Representative Yumo.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members voting yes, Senate Joint Resolution number 22-15 is hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 16, which is the bill calendar, and I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now offer a motion to pass House Bill number 22-79 HS1 under Standing Committee Report number 22-57, a bill for an act to allow for the right-hand drive vehicles that are 25 years or older to be imported and registered in the CNMI and for other purposes. So move.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to pass House Bill number 22-79, House Substitute 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata, Representative Fatal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta,
Hunggan.
Representative Sheila Babauta,
Hunggan.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Damapan, Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magovnia, Representative Manglona,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Hunggan.
Representative Nicholas,
Yes.
Representative Staffler,
Unggan.
Representative Yang Tamay,
Aware.
Representative Yumo.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, House Bill 22-79 HS1 hereby passes the House. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Senate Bill number 22-78 under Standing Committee Report or Senate Communication number 22-123 entitled to amend for CMC subsection 1205 to include the Marianas Technical Institute as a qualified educational institution to benefit from the tax educational tax credit. So move.
Yeah. Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to pass Senate Bill 22-78 and has been seconded. Discussions on the floor. Recognize Representative Leila Staffler.
Thank you, Speaker and colleagues. I would like to offer an amendment to Senate Bill 22-78 to read as follows. On page 2, line 17, to delete line 7, Northern Marianas Trade Institute. Line 18, after the open parentheses, delete the number 8, insert the number 7. And on line 19, after the deleted number 8, delete number 9 and insert number 8. So moved.
Thank you. Floor amendment has been offered by Representative Leila Staffler, and it has been seconded. Any discussions on the proposed amendment? Recognize the mover.
I wanted to explain why. Knowing that Northern Marianas Technical Institute has changed its name officially, we want to ensure that any ETC credits are only given to the correct named institution. And so that is why I offer that motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Staffler. Any other discussions? Ready? All in favor to adopt the floor amendment offered by Representative Staffler, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is hereby adopted. We now move back to the main motion, which is now to pass Senate Bill number 22-78 in the form of House Draft 1. Discussions. Ready? So with that, I recognize the clerk.
Representative Fada? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta? Representative Sheila Babauta?
Again,
Representative Vicente Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Damapan? Representative Flores?
Yes.
Representative Guerrero? Representative Lezama?
Yes.
Representative Magofnia? Representative Manglona?
Yes.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan?
Yes.
Representative Jean Paul Sablan?
Again.
Representative City Claus?
Yes.
Representative Staffler?
I'm good.
Representative Yangtamay?
Howard.
Representative Yumo?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, Senate Bill number 22-78 in the form of HD1 hereby passes the House. Thank you. I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And before we go to the last bill on calendar, and so that we're in line with the rules, I offer a motion to suspend Rule 9, Section 8, referrals of bills and resolution, and also to suspend Rule 7, Section 9, and Rule 9, Section 9 and 10. So move.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to suspend pertinent rules for the passage of House Bill number 22-19, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Recognize Representative Tina Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I just ask our floor leader to further elaborate on which rules are being suspended for this bill?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rule 9, Section 7 refers to referrals of bills and resolutions, so it can be placed on the calendar today. Rules 7, Section 9 is for committee reports and other documents, and Rule 9, Section 9 and 10 on first and final reading.
All right, ready? All in favor of the motion, for the motion offered by the floor leader to suspend pertinent rules, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'll offer a motion to pass on first and final House Bill number 22-119, a bill for an act to establish a process for the delivery of the State of the Commonwealth address to the legislature by the governor. So move.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to pass House Bill number 22-119, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Recognize Representative Tina Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank our floor leader and other colleagues who also co-sponsored this bill for taking the initiative to establish a process, and it put some, I guess, common sense and order into how the State of the Commonwealth address should be delivered and received. I think recent events have highlighted the need for a process and for some clarity in how this is conducted. And so I am ready to vote in support of this bill.
Thank you, Representative Tina Sablan. Floor is still open for discussions.
Ready?
Ready? Okay, with that, I recognize the clerk.
Representative Fada? Representative Fatal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta,
Pungan.
Representative Sheila Babauta,
Again.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Damapan, Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofia,
Yes.
Representative Manglonia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Pungan.
Representative St. Nicholas,
Then,
Representative Staffler,
Ungan.
Representative Youngtamay,
Yes.
Representative Yumo.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, House Bill number 22-119 hereby passes the House. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to the next item of our agenda, and that is miscellaneous business. Floor is open for discussion. Recognize Representative Selena Babauta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to let everybody know that I received numerous calls, messages, emails regarding not only from the applicants but the community at large regarding their serious concerns about the Boost program and the anxiety they're going through about that. And what I'd like to assure the public is that we are not trying to stop this program in any way. There is a common misconception out there, and we are not trying to do that. What there is no intention to do so, and there is no attempt to do so by the committees of JGO and Ways and Means. What we're merely trying to do is seek answers that no one in the administration is willing to provide to us without being compelled to do so. And I just wanted to provide an update on that. So the issue before the Ways and Means Committee and the JGO Committee is that on November 15th, we wrote letters to Secretaries of Finance and Commerce and the Office of the Governor and Bank of Saipan seeking answers as to what the process is and procedures, what policies they have in place, the criteria, the amounts that have been awarded, all of that. And they failed to respond, either engage with the Ways and Means Committee or the JGO Committee about it. And when they failed to engage with us, to communicate with us, we sent a follow-up email after missing the first deadline. They also missed the second deadline. Only then were we compelled as a joint committee to issue subpoenas. And so we did so on November 22nd. We issued subpoenas duces tecum to Mr. William Castro of the Office of the Governor, Chief of Staff, Bank of Saipan, Bank of Guam, Department of Commerce, Mr. Edward De Leon Guerrero, and Mr. David Atalik, Secretary of Finance. And at this time, we are still awaiting documents from the entities that we have issued subpoenas to. Only the Bank of Guam has responded responsively to our subpoena duces tecum. A couple of other people, namely the Secretary of Finance, Bank of Saipan, Mr. William Castro, Office of the Governor, have requested for an extension, which the Joint Committee, in good faith and in the spirit of cooperation and accommodation, obliged and gave them a few days extension. And then we are currently waiting for the Secretary of Commerce, Mr. Edward De Leon Guerrero. He was only served his subpoena this past Tuesday because we couldn't find him. It was a Thanksgiving weekend and we had a long weekend last week. So he wasn't able to be served his subpoena duces tecum until Tuesday this week. So we gave him up until Tuesday next week to provide documents to the Joint Committee. And that is where we stand right now. After we receive the documents from these entities, we will then decide as a Joint Committee how to move forward with the Boost program and the documents we have received. So I just wanted to let the people know out there that there is no intention to stop the program. There is no, we're simply trying to get to answers for the people who have applied. We have come across And I'm currently meeting with several of the applicants at this time. They've requested some of my time, and I willingly do so to gather information. And that is basically what the joint committee is trying to do, is just gather information so we can put it out there in the public. There's nothing on the website for the boost program that alludes to any type of policy or procedure or who qualifies for how much. We've been hearing disparity in the awards of these funds, and we just want to put it out there that, once we get these documents, we will then decide as a joint committee how to move forward with that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Thank you, Chairwoman Babauta. Floor is still open. Recognize Representative Sheila Babauta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Rep. Selena, for that update and clarification on the Boost program. This is such a great example of communication and how it's happening and how it's not happening. And like tomorrow's December, if we're having trouble accessing like information and the opening of books, I think it's about time that everyone just prepare for that. We're going to go through a big transition, and so thank you for just modeling what's to be expected. And in the light of transition, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to mention under miscellaneous that like this whole house, this legislature, the 22nd House is coming to a close. We're turning the chapter. We're entering our final month. I think for many of us, 9 of us, it will be our final month and in the House. And so we never had our retreat. Which was something that I recommended at the beginning of our term, if you remember, colleagues, like we've never gotten together. And so, I know that we're going to have our Sinodai or Sinadia, and that's probably like the one event that we're all required to attend. And so I just wanted to ask about that, Mr. Speaker, and maybe to just like share your considerations on when the dates will be and like what to expect. Can we invite our families? Will it almost be similar to the swearing in when we had that? Like people come up, it's our final time. And I think it's going to be like a great final session, and I just want us to prepare for that as much as possible. Because it's really been an honor serving in this 22nd legislature. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Sheila. Recognize Representative Ben Camacho.
Thank you, Speaker. What I wanted to ask was, when is the last and final House session before this term is up?
Thank you, Chairman Camacho. I'm looking at January 3rd as the last session to close business.
Because I would also like to ask the JGO committee if she would put out as many of the bills that are in the committee for January, pull them out as it should be.
Okay.
Before the end of the term. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Floor is still open for miscellaneous, under miscellaneous. Ready? All right, we'll now move down to item number 18, announcements. Floor is open. Recognize Representative Leila Stafford.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to invite all of our colleagues and the general public. Rep. Lizama and I are hosting the last Holiday Art Bazaar in Precinct 5. It'll be on this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And so if you're looking for locally made arts, crafts, gifts for Christmas, this is a great place to do it. We have over 16 vendors and growing to this day of local artists, local vendors, local businesses that will be putting out their wares. So for the greater community of the CNMI, please come to Cagman on Saturday, this December 3rd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the Holiday Art Bazaar. And this is at the Cagman Community Center. Thank you. Cagman Community Center in Cagman 3. We will also be hosting a swap meet, a final swap meet for the year of December, same times, same place. So if you're looking for used things, used items, take someone else's trash and make it your treasure, it will be at the Cagman Community Center from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we have our swap meet and the holiday art bazaar happening at the same time, at the same place, Kagman 3. Please come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Staffler. Floor is still open for announcements. Recognize Representative Sheila Babauta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to also share, thank you, Rep. Layla, for sharing that. I'll definitely be there to shop for Christmas. And I wanted to share that on December 10 and 11, the first ever surfing competition is happening on the island of Saipan, and that's going to be at Obzan Beach from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a 2-day event. It's a collaborative effort. I think it's something new that's being organized, but there has been a growing surfing community, and so it would be really nice to see representatives out there supporting our community who are staying very close to nature, staying in the ocean, and that's a really important part of our quality of life here. So that's December 10 and 11, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Obzan Beach, the first ever surfing competition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Sheila. Floor is still open under announcements. Ready? Ready? Okay, we'll now move down to adjournment, and I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll offer a motion to adjourn subject to the call of the chair. So move.
A motion has been made by the floor leader to adjourn the session, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All right. All in favor to adjourn the session, please say aye. All opposed, stay. The ayes have it. The session is hereby adjourned. Thank you, colleagues.